Everybody speak up.
Oh god damn. Please don't. Just stop. You make Chad Kroeger hate himself.
He dated Avril Lavigne, so it can't be. I mean, he hates himself already.
That's when you know. Like,
would you guys not date Avril Lavigne?
Haven't you heard the whole conspiracy theory that she died and it's somebody else?
really?
You never heard that?
No, I never heard that.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Did you
Baby, NWO.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, and the dreams that you dream of once in a lullaby. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow.
Welcome everyone, this is Abel Loza, and joining me as always are my co-host and co-conspirator CJ.
Hello.
And Barker.
What up?
This is the Nerd World Order podcast where we're trying to take over the world by spreading the weekly pop culture news from across different genres, which include movies, comics, TV shows, or anything that we consider nerd. We're the Nerd World Order podcast, your greatest entertainment since 2017. Alright guys, this is probably the biggest nerd weekend of the year. This is a special edition show. This is a regular show. There's not going to be any news. There's not going to be any... well, there is going to be some quippy banter back and forth, but this is going to be strictly an Endgame. And I'm going to let you know right now, spoilers.
Go fuck yourself if you haven't seen the movie. You son of a bitch.
Super spoiler heavy. So if you guys want to do spoilers from here on out, you can.
If you wanted an original show today, just turn it off.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's straight in-game.
So, yeah, we just got done watching it, what, an hour ago maybe?
Yeah, an hour.
Yeah, so everything is fresh in our minds. And we're just gonna go straight from the heart, straight from the gun, as they would say, without watching it twice. Because I feel with a movie like this, it's initially how you feel, and not after the second viewing. Because then you start maybe nitpicking or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's just initial feeling. Isis is in the room, so that's all that's Isis. So, alright, Barker decided to buy the beer this week because I think it was his turn.
It was my turn like 2 weeks ago, and then, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I forgot Barker's back.
Sick.
He's done diarrheaing himself.
Little known fact, Sambuca tastes better going down than coming back up. Just so you guys know, the more you know. So tonight actually, it's a Wichita Brewing Company from Wichita. It's called their Long Ball. It's a craft lager. And
I'm really glad you clarified where the Wichita Brewing Company is from.
Hey, it could be.
Wichita Falls?
Yeah.
Wichita, India?
And actually, I was...
Wichita, Antarctica?
I was listening to an older band from the 2000s. They were Block Party, and they're from England. And they originally signed to the Wichita recording label, and I'm like, really? English recording label, Wichita. So, yeah.
This has nothing to do with anything. I'm going to say it anyway. There's a band called Zed's Dead, and it's an electronic duo. That should not be the name of an electronic. That should be
a metal band.
Or like at least like hard rock or something.
Yeah.
An electronic duo. Is the name Zed's Dead wasted on an electronic duo from Massachusetts or some shit? It's ridiculous.
Did they drive choppers?
Huh?
Did they ride choppers?
Probably not. They're probably douchebags. Their names are like Zach and Dennis, and so they think that like that's cool. ZD is not. It's not.
Is it cool? Poll question.
Sorry.
This is pretty good actually. Is it a dark beer?
No, it's a lager, so it's a light beer, but it's a little hoppy.
It is a little hoppy. Yep. I like a little hoppy, not like pine
like
tree.
chewing on.
Should I Stone Cold Stunner ISIS? Poll question.
Well, goddamn right. All right, guys. So, like I said, we're just gonna get into this. No poll questions, no nothing.
Whitney,
no Whitney, no nothing.
No Florida.
Fuck yourself,
Florida has to take it back.
We say that very nicely.
I want to talk as much of Avengers as possible.
Well, Whitney probably wants to talk Avengers.
Well, he can comment whenever he sees it. Okay, so we haven't talked how we felt about the movie at all.
Nope.
At all. I think
that's not true.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have. Me and you guys haven't. So that's
dickbag.
I was holding my penis in the bathroom and talking to somebody, and then I was talking to CJ about how I was holding my penis talking to somebody, and then it just came out.
Did that legitimately happen again to you, CJ, in the bathroom?
No, he was just started talking about, I told this guy how I feel about it.
Yeah.
So it's all his fault.
Because what movie were we watching? Shazam? And I was like, I really like it. And he's like, motherfucker. I was like,
but I was like, I was walking right behind him. Yeah. He didn't see me. I was like, and he turns around. And Thanos
Well,
right there.
we did that for the other one before that too.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't remember, but yeah, we were walking out. I was like, "Oh man, that was great." So he was like, "We're not supposed to." You know what? You already fucked it up.
Captain Marvel.
Oh yeah, Captain Marvel.
All right, guys. What will be brought up in this, as well as a lot of things. And when you guys have this isn't no organization, or there's no organizational outline to this. It's whatever you guys.
You guys just riff.
It's whatever you guys want. We're just riffing.
So you just eat candy.
But the one thing I do want to start with is one word. How would you describe this movie?
Satisfying.
That's a very good way to put it.
Perfect.
Concluding. Just off the top of your head, what's one thing you want to say about it?
That's the best ending any of us could have hoped for, honestly.
I think you're right.
The Russo brothers could make a 5-hour movie of a jar of mayonnaise, and I would go pay for it, and I'd be totally satisfied after this movie. After all their movies.
Yeah.
They can do no wrong from this movie on.
I don't know. If they make a movie about a jar of mayonnaise, they might have done something wrong.
No. I'll still pay
it.
for it. I'll still watch all 5 hours of it.
So, I guess, CJ, what's a book cover synopsis on it?
Jesus. Big purple asshole dies. These guys, the Avengers go get some rocks. And Big Purple Asshole comes back. Big Purple Asshole dies.
Okay, well, kind of that's good enough.
No, that's really good.
Transition out of that. So yes, like CJ said, the movie initially starts with Avengers Endgame, because people are like, what's the name of the movie? Avengers Endgame. So the movie starts.
One person did that, and he feels like a dumbass every time you guys do that. So keep doing it, please.
So the movie starts. What do they say? 26 days after we see
22.
Well, Tony's 22, and then 23 is when the Avengers down on Earth.
So about a month almost.
3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah,
Like 3 weeks later.
About 3 weeks later, the movie starts off, and the Avengers are trying to figure out a way to reverse what Thanos did. And this is all in the trailers. Tony Stark is out in outer space. And CJ and I, when we were kind of talking about it a little bit, our prediction, and that was one of the predictions we had right. How is he getting back? And I mostly thought it was going to be Captain Marvel. Which, by the way, I think kind of, I don't know if it's out of continuity or maybe Captain Marvel had already gone to Earth and then went back.
That's kind of what I thought.
That's what I thought too, because I felt like if that's the first time they had seen Captain
They were probably
Marvel,
like, we need to find Tony.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Because if that's the first time if that's the first time they would have seen Captain Marvel, I would have been like, who the fuck is that? You know.
Yeah.
So no, that's what I think. And then, but yeah, so they find Thanos on this planet where he was retiring or whatever, and we see them all. We see him all fucked up. His what was it? His left side of his body. Because the gauntlet was on the left, just toasted and fucked up, and we don't really remember why. Like we're like, did he end like that in Infinity War? No. What he found out is the Avengers try to steal the stones from him to reverse what he did, but he snapped to destroy the stones, and Thor fucking chopped his head off. When you thought that, or when you saw that, what initially ran through your mind? Because I'll tell you what ran through my mind. I thought that it was the Reality Stone, because you know how he did the whole thing on Nowhere, where we thought, well, I never thought he did, or Gamora killed him or whatever, and I was like, this has to be a trick. And then the next card is 5 years later, and I'm like, oh. So that's what we're starting out.
Yeah, I was like, the movie's over. Like, where do we go? Like, we still got 2 hours and 45 minutes. Where do we go from here? Like,
so where'd you guys think plot wise where it was gonna go after that?
I was like, well, what the fuck is the movie about then? Like,
yeah, no. I was like, is there another bad guy? You know, like, we're done with the original bad guy. We're going to a different one. But after that, just like, okay, so we keep hearing about time travel, so how are we doing that? Because there's no time stone anymore. There's nothing. Yeah. So
and then after that, it's 5 years. Everybody's trying to cope. And Barker's right. There was a lot of theories on how they were going to do it, and it was Ant-Man played the key role in basically setting the thing off in motion. And what it was is they broke up into 4 teams? Three teams of the remaining Avengers.
4, 2, and 2.
It was.
No, it was 4 teams.
It was.
It was not 4 teams.
Barton and Natasha,
yeah.
And then it was Nebula and Rhodey, and then it was Steve, Hulk, Tony, and Ant-Man, Scott, and then the 4th one was Rocket and Thor.
Yeah. So it was
4 teams.
So 4 teams to collect the time stone, all the stones before they reached Thanos' hand. So they all went into different parts of the Marvel universe as we have seen before in previous movies, and I really enjoyed that. This movie is 3 hours long, and it's each hour is an act to this movie. First act, everybody's coping. Second act, they're trying to do something about it, and we'll get to the third act. That was the end.
Let's save that little nice piece of candy for later.
But I really enjoyed that second act because it was kind of like we're trying to move forward, but it's looking back at the same time. So we get in when they're trying to get the time stone. We see Thor Ragnarok, Thor: The Dark World. We see the first Guardians of the Galaxy. We see the first Avengers. We see Infinity War because they go to the Soul Stone, and then those are the 4 that we see. So yeah, it was kind of a send off on some of the bigger moments of the first.
It's kind of like a recap of like what has happened through the whole thing,
Well, and then it's a fitting end, I think, because so we go back to where a lot of the times we were first introduced to some of the Infinity Stones, and obviously you would have had to see those movies to get it, but I think it was if they were going to do time travel is such an old cliche or a trope, but I thought they did it really well.
And I loved in the movie how they kind of abided by the old school time travel movies. You could kind of tell like they tried to as much as possible. So
and they played on that cliche. It's like when Tony asked Scott Lang, he's like, "Do you think this is going to work like Back to the Future?" And he's like, "No, of course not." So what did you think?
I liked it.
Well, as far as that specific,
yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
That was probably the funniest part of the movie. There's the most jokes, and that was awesome. I enjoyed that. I laughed a lot actually, which is I don't know. I wasn't expecting to laugh that much. To be honest.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
I think it had
some levity in that part.
I appreciated the levity with the darkness, and we're gonna get into it later as far as like differences between Infinity War and Endgame. But Endgame was a lot more emotional because there's not as much action in this, even though
that's true.
The entire last third of that movie is just action. But this is and Barker kind of said it's satisfying, emotionally satisfying.
Yeah.
So after that, they get all the time stones, and then there's a little hitch in the plan where what's her name? Nebula. They kind of cross.
Their network is kind of like...
So they figure them out, and then old past Nebula takes the place of new Nebula, and that's the way that Thanos is able to find out that they're up to something. So
old Thanos
comes to present time, and this decides to wreck the Avengers. What would you call that?
Get rid of them once and for all.
Yeah,
annihilation.
Yeah, and basically we get action, and then the Avengers save the day, and that's kind of the main big part of it. But
the second act was cool.
I really liked the second. A lot of people.
It was cool to see Iron Man and Captain America working together.
Last time.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. So we're not gonna bury the lead.
I got also in that part. I liked how all of them kind of like. Well, I guess not so much Nebula. Nebula was kind of like that twist that we kind of figured out. But like Thor actually talking to his mom, and then Tony talking to his dad, and then
they both got their goodbyes.
Steve actually getting to see Peggy and everything like that. So that was actually kind of a nice thing and everything like that. But just to go back and kind of see all these movies a second time technically and everything like that, I thought that was really cool. And just having that heist aspect, kind of like an Ocean's 11, like y'all have to do your job right. If not, then the whole plan.
Well, the code name of it was Time Heist, and I like that. I'd like. Ant-Man, I think if you're going to put him on a totem pole, as far as the movies or the little universes they built, a lot of people would argue that Ant-Man is probably towards the bottom. Like, you're not going to put it over the Captain America, the movies they've done for him, or Iron Man, obviously, even Thor, right? But I love how he is...
Even Thor. That's fine. Okay.
But I love how he is the central part of this movie.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I love... Because if you...
Well, because he's going to be... I think he's going to be part of it going forward, probably.
Yeah, and he was basically... Because each little universe that they built within the big universe, Ant-Man and the Wasp, they kind of have like a heist to them, right? Like the first one was very heisty, so kind of was the second one. So this one felt very Ant-Man-ish as far as that, and I'm glad, dude. Paul Rudd, like, I'm glad he's getting his Avengers time, you know, because we didn't see him at all in the first one, or Hawkeye, and they both got a lot of playing time in the second movie. As well as, although we saw Captain America in the first one, we see a lot of him in this movie, which I really appreciated. And there was a reason why I read an interview why he didn't get as much play in the first one, because he was going to get a lot of play in this one. So I appreciated that. So I'm not going to bury the lead. This movie ends a very particular way. What did you think, and what was your initial reaction when we see Tony?
The Endgame of Endgame.
Did Tony Stark bite it? When Tony Stark dies.
It was pretty badass.
If there was a way to go, that was the way to go.
Yeah, once you knew what he was gonna say. Just when he started saying "I am," you knew it was gonna end, and it was pretty cool.
Well, I told the guys it was kind of ruined for me because of Twitter, which is fine. But I kind of knew it was gonna happen. I knew it was gonna be one of the two. But
yeah, you knew going in it was either Captain America or Iron Man.
Well, in this case, I think it's both. But for sure, when I knew it was gonna happen was when two parts really pointed me to that direction. When he sees Doctor Strange for the first time after they come back, and then he's like, "How does this end?" And he's like, "If I tell you, it doesn't end that way." And he's like, "Okay." And then the second time is when he looks over and he's Doctor Strange is kind of controlling the flooding waters, and he looks at him, and then he just points up one finger, and that's when he figures out that Iron Man's got to go. And obviously, if you're listening to this, you either don't care or you've seen the movie. But if you've seen it, Thanos thinks he has the Infinity Stones
and the gauntlet.
But when he turns the gauntlet around, he notices that they're gone. What I'm thinking would happen is Tony Stark kind of built it in a way where they're like magnetically controlled to his suit. And in Tony Stark fashion, I am Iron Man snaps his fingers and.
Kind of role reversal. Everybody
that
was
was
bad guys get dusted.
Yeah, everybody in that past.
How'd you feel seeing Thanos fucking?
I love the fact that they played it that he was the last one. Yeah. Like everybody whooshed, and then
it was straight poetic justice.
That
was pretty cool. Because I thought they wouldn't for a minute. I was like, what the fuck?
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, are they just going to then beat the shit out of him?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, what the fuck?
Okay. Well, he gets a Thanos copter, you know.
Yeah. He's the strongest one, obviously. So he would be the last one, right? But yeah. Very very satisfying moment. Very satisfying moment. So there's three big things I want to bring up. Second one is, or I guess four. Second one, Captain America is to fill you in. Obviously.
Well,
okay.
Really, what this is goodbye to the initial three Avengers.
Yeah, to kind of put a theme on it, is a goodbye to at least the two main ones. Going in.
Thor might have.
Well, I was about to say three because that final battle between Thor and the Avengers ended up being before everybody kind of got a piece of him was Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America. They kind of teamed up and like kind of we were talking about last show. DC has their Holy Trinity. And you now you have to make the case that it's them three.
You can make your case with Hulk in there too. I think that's why they did the original 6.
Yeah, well, they're the original 6 Avengers, but I think that's the reason.
But
why
as far as like the pillars,
those
those
three.
are the three.
Hulk
and,
might be kind of there too.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Thor,
you could probably interchange.
Thor, kind of a goodbye. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but definitely for sure the two main guys, the head coach and the quarterback, the two guys. So Captain America was then. They were going to use the same quantum technology to send him to the back to return the Infinity Stones, because if you pluck a Infinity Stone from that reality, that's going to create an alternative universe where that universe is fucked. So they had to return it to the exact location. As the theory of relativity goes, you can go back to that time and put it there. And for him, it was supposed to take, 10 seconds? But he never came back, and then we see Captain America, and he went back to the 40s and lived his life. So,
which is about damn near perfect.
That is. I love the way this movie ended. So then we see Captain America handing the shield off to Sam Wilson. He's gonna be, just like in the comics, he's the next Captain America. I'm super excited to see that.
I was expecting Bucky, but I still like Anthony Mackie as the next Captain.
I'm really excited about that movie, like super excited. And then basically we're supposed to believe then that Captain America aged out, like he's gonna die.
There's a lot of perfect, like ways that this ties, I guess. Like throughout the entire series, Captain America never really found love. He was trying. They kept trying to set out with people, and it never really worked.
He even made out with the great niece or whatever.
Sharon.
Yeah, Sharon.
But even then, it felt like forced. You remember that? It was
it
was like weird between them.
It was always Peggy, and it's always gonna be.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
That was cool as fuck. It tied that up so nicely. It's
Dude,
like that's why he was not being able to find it.
And it's a total callback to the movie where he's like, "Save me a dance after this," and the movie ends with them dancing, dude. How amazing is that, dude? Like, and I'm so glad. And don't stick around after the movies if you haven't seen this. But there's no end credit scene.
No, fuck that. Stick around.
Stick around.
But I appreciated how there isn't.
Oh yeah,
a preview for something else. Like this is the end of like
this is the end of the saga. Yeah,
the saga. That's a better word to say. A better end of the saga of this first branch of Avengers.
And just like that callback from Infinity Wars when Thanos was like, I hope they remember you. You know, and like Tony died. You know, being Thanos and everything. Like making sure that everybody saw it, so everybody's gonna remember him for that. So, so that kind of ties together too. That's awesome.
So once I saw the daughter, I knew he was gonna die. Once I saw his daughter, I'm like they have him.
He's gonna die.
He's gonna die.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
I thought Captain was gonna die, even though
I
kept weeks on this show. I told you like, don't tell me that. I knew it was gonna happen, and I thought Tony was gonna retire and just handle.
It ended up being the other way around.
Yeah.
I kept waiting for Captain America to die because everyone has been telling me he was gonna die every day since fucking. Like Civil War, basically, and it never happened. And
well, he technically died, or he's going to die. He's old.
Yeah.
He ages a lot.
That's different than dying.
He ages a lot slower than everybody else. That's why he's able. Because if he was born, if he was of age to fight in World War II, so he must have been born in like 1920.
I remember Arlen said it.
I think
it's like 1917,
1917, right? So he ages a lot slower because he is superhuman. So that's why he's probably able to live.
Well, and like in the first one, like years. He can't get drunk because his cells.
Yeah,
but he didn't get killed. He lived his life happily.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, no, but
that was the most perfect ending.
But he's out though. There is no more Captain
than
America
being killed.
Yeah, you're right.
It is.
So then the third point then is Black Widow. Like that's it for Black Widow, right?
Yeah. Her movie's a prequel.
Her movie's definitely a prequel.
So
I really thought it was gonna be Hawkeye that died for everybody.
Yeah, I thought so too.
A lot of people, everyone probably did. I did.
Yeah, I thought like they both were gonna die, and then like the Red Skull was just like, since you guys sacrificed each other, you guys both gave up each other's souls. So like the other one, like they both return and then could get.
Oh man, well you kind of.
It would have been like a really
kind of emotional way.
Yeah.
That would have been like a cop out.
No, it's a cop out, but I mean like it could have made sense. That they both could have survived.
I'm glad they did that though. Did that as far as like one of them dying, because this movie has so much emotional baggage, dude. Like you can tell they're not. And you know what I really liked about that moment too is that they didn't make it like, oh, I've always loved you and let me kiss you. He has a wife and a kid that he fucking loves, but the love.
But there's real love.
That's what I'm saying. But
she loves her family, aka the Avengers. You know, so like she'll do anything for them.
But even more than that,
they did it without making it romantic.
Yeah. And because you can have a love between, I think with them, especially they were like they've been through so much,
right?
That they can love each other but not be in love with each other. So
right below like actual true love and everything.
Yeah. So like I really appreciated that and you could see it how much it meant to Hawkeye that that should happen. So.
Well, in the end, the decision was the right one. Unfortunately, I mean, as far as like, just thinking as like a parent, like if you have kids and I don't, I'm out, dude.
Yeah.
Like save yourself.
Well,
and Hawkeye had a family to go back to. She had the Avengers, but no.
Yeah. Well, and then in hindsight...
So, in hindsight, it makes it better.
Well, and then hindsight, they were kind of teeing it up for Black Widow, because, when Rhodey was giving her the 411 on him killing the cartel or whatever, and then it's like, please follow him for me or whatever, and then she has a conversation with Cap about, like, before this, like, I was lost, like, I didn't have anything, and this is my family, and you could kind of feel like it was a swan song. Kind of like we talked about the last... Oh, never mind. You're here. You haven't gotten there. The episode of Game of Thrones. Yeah, we're not going to get there. Barker, he's catching up, thankfully.
I'm catching up. Yeah.
I won't say anything,
right.
but this...
Yeah, we have to have this... Dude, we're going on another fucking roller coaster.
Dude, I know.
In like 2 days.
This is the Memorial Day weekend of like nerd stuff.
So yeah.
This is one of two, yeah.
Hey CJ,
Yeah.
do you love the NWO?
Yeah.
Do you like supporting things you love by giving them an amount of money so small that you wouldn't notice or feel leaving your bank account?
Yeah.
Then you'd be perfect to donate to the NWO cause, which will help us create more content and become a better podcast. Is that something you like to do?
Yeah.
Then visit us on patreon.com/NoRolled-Order and give us a monthly donation to help us out. Or if you want, give us a one-time donation. Please go to our PayPal at nerdworldorder2@gmail.com.
Yeah?
Yeah, and remember folks, obey the NWO. Okay, so kind of branching off of the Black Widow thing, that means Loki and Gamora are gone.
Oh, dude, they're dead.
Yeah.
They're super dead.
That, in hindsight, then that puts way more weight on Loki dying and Gamora. Because,
I told you that. Well, not like I knew.
Because Gamora's dead because... So I was thinking maybe like, oh, the one from the past stays. But if you look at the funeral scene and when Thor goes to the... Which we'll get to that too. When he gets on the Guardians of the Galaxy ship...
They're looking for her.
She's not there. They're looking for her.
Yeah.
So maybe that's Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is... which is going to have Thor, so...
Well, you got to think like if...
Are you sure?
If they defeated Thanos, then he's not going out like doing all this stuff, so he doesn't find Gamora. She still probably is out there, but she's not Gamora.
That's a good way to put it. I didn't think about that actually.
She's probably like on her home planet like doing something.
Because time is all fucky and shit. So yeah.
But yeah, Loki's dead. I hate to say it,
So his Disney Plus series is probably gonna have to be a prequel series. And then they're doing a Winter Soldier,
Falcon one.
So
maybe that's a Captain America.
Yeah. Maybe that's his transition to Captain America, like his training wheels. So
we'll see on that.
One of the biggest, and I love the crowd that we watched it in. Like they were super into it, like cheering, clapping.
Clapping.
So obviously the one that got the biggest reaction was when Captain America grabbed the fucking hammer, dude.
That was dope.
Dude, how dope as fuck is
that? As soon as I saw him bring his hammer back from the past, I was like, they have to, in the comics. That's like one of the most iconic ones is when Cap picks up like Mjolnir because he was worthy and everything.
Mjolnir.
So like as soon as Mjolnir.
Okay.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Mjolnir. It's not that.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Molinar.
I just had to levitate you.
Melatonin.
Sorry.
Mango flavor.
Anyway, as you.
That's not fun. But yeah, you just as soon as you see it on the ground, it's just like you see it kind of wobbling a little bit.
He's the only one who even nudged it in fucking whatever. And
that's when Thor was just like, I knew he could do it.
Yeah.
Like that was. I mean. Yeah, I think that was like the loudest clapping was when that happened. Just like, oh my god.
Dude, Captain America's the shit.
He's fucking...
And just how he used it with a shield was
dude,
so
that was those 10, 15, 30 seconds or whatever it was, was for my money the best.
Oh yeah, best.
The best action scene.
I don't know, man. It was the best action scene in a movie filled with incredible action scenes. I'll be honest with you. Through the second act, I wasn't down on it. But I had in my mind that Infinity War was the superior movie. Once we got that third act, though, I was like, oh, shit.
Okay, we can talk about that a little bit.
Holy shit.
That whole final scene, like, everybody was either wet in their panties or everybody had an erection.
I was both. It was crazy.
Exactly.
I will tell you, I got... Well, let me tee it up a little bit.
I got hard first.
Let me tee it up a little bit. So after Thanos blows up the Avengers compound, basically... He says.
Well, it's after the plan is for Bruce Banner to.
And he was the only one that could snap because we saw how bad it fucked up Thanos.
Yeah, that's why they were collecting the stones because they were gonna have Bruce Banner, the Hulk. I don't know, whatever.
Technically, he's Professor Hulk.
Professor Hulk, I like that. They were gonna have
weird with that, with Professor, because it's just like it's Mark Ruffalo. It's not really the Hulk.
But they were gonna have Hulk snap and just make everything better, and so they had just done that. when
that was another super emotional moment when they snap.
Oh my god! And they get the call,
and she calls. And
that was so great.
And then Ant-Man, or Scott Lang, all he sees is like the butterflies and stuff, and he's like, guys, it worked. And then immediately after that, Thanos bombs the shit out of that compound.
Like, not today, assholes.
Yeah. So then there's to tee up the third act, and then there's a battle between Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man versus Thanos. So then Thanos kind of does his thing, kind of stops him, and then he tells them, the search for the Infinity Stones has never been personal, but I'm gonna love what I'm gonna do to your planet. So then you see everything, the Chitauri army that we saw from Avengers, the first Avengers, everything. We see everything that we've ever seen in these 11 years.
Whole universal army.
And then right then and there, dude, that's the moment I wanted. That is the moment I wanted. Yeah. It's not how I thought I was going to get it, but that is the moment I wanted.
Pretty fucking badass.
So what we see is Captain America lined up by himself against this entire army, and then he turns around, and then...
Anthony Mackie, played by Falcon, says, Cap, on your left.
Yeah.
To which you see Doctor Strange's circle and everything, and you just see hundreds of just circles, and just everybody from the snapping just walks out and just makes this huge Marvel army.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah, we see Shuri, Black Panther, and I always forget her name. Okoye. We see them with the entire Wakandan army, which I'm bummed out that M'Baku wasn't there.
Yeah, he was.
I didn't see him.
Yeah, he was at the front line.
He was.
Oh, really?
So when you're watching it, he was like kind of side left.
He was there.
Oh, I wish
there was a couple shots where he's like in the corner.
Yeah.
I wish he would have got more of a.
Oh, bang!
Yeah. And then we see Doctor Strange, Wong, and we see all the magicians, and then we see Ant-Man and the Wasp. Wizards, sorry. And then we see...
Or Masters of Mystical Arts, I guess.
When we see Spider-Man, dude.
Oh my god, that was awesome.
I loved how they froze on him for a good 3-4 seconds. Because, everybody from Infinity Wars was just bawling their eyes out when he left. So him coming back, like everybody, and I think the crowd was like clapping too. If I remember right.
And then not only that, when he sees Tony Stark for the first time, he tells a story like a kid with like, so we were in this side and we're back and this is crazy, and then Doctor Strange, and then all Tony Stark could do was hug him, dude.
Yeah, because in there I just been like a couple minutes, if that.
Yeah, and
just his death, like kind of holding on him for that long, just that weight just being lifted.
Yeah, and Tony Stark's been living with this for 5 years.
Yeah, so
5+.
Yeah.
So then, dude, after that, it's just so much goodness. Everybody gets their time. Scarlet Witch gets an awesome scene where you took everything from me. And then he's like, I don't even know you. And she was like, you will. And then just almost fucked him. And that is her power set, like almost fucked him up. But if he like basically kamikazed, his troops or whatever to get out of that.
I was waiting for that to turn into like a House on M thing right there. And I'm glad that they didn't.
Yeah.
Because that would have been kind of... It would have ended the movie right there, but...
It couldn't have been... I knew it was something like that was going to happen because it couldn't have been her to kill. Oh, which reminds me, that means Vision's gone too.
Yep.
Yeah. But...
Because they were... when her and Clint were talking at the river and everything, that's when she's like, they know that...
This movie was always going to have repercussions.
Yeah.
Lasting repercussions.
Marvel can't keep bringing people back. After a while, it's just like... Okay, I don't believe that person's dead.
This movie had to have some emotional weight behind it for sure. We're not gonna see Iron Man again.
The Avengers are changed forever.
We're not gonna see Captain America as far as Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
We're not gonna see Vision. We're not gonna see Loki. We're not gonna see Gamora. Maybe Gamora. Maybe that's probably the plot of
3.
We're not gonna see Loki. I think I said that. We're not gonna see.
It wouldn't surprise me if Gamora comes back.
I think so too. Because I think that left a lot of unanswered questions as far as what happened to past Gamora. She must have snapped too, because I'm sure his thought was like, okay, everybody from the past, or or however he thought it, except Gamora. Like I'm 100% doubt that's what he was thinking. So kind of as we're hitting the big ones, Thor. There's a new Asgard, and that's somewhere in Scandinavia somewhere, and he is emotionally wrecked for a lot of reasons. He's lost everybody he's ever cared for.
Well, he certainly feels like it's his fault.
And he feels like it's his fault because he should have aimed for the head.
I mean, he got in the first act. He got the retribution of killing him, but like,
but it felt empty though.
Yeah, because I mean, he wasn't really like Thanos.
As we said at the end of the show last year there's 2 missions and they're separate. Killing Thanos and undoing it. There's 2 separate things.
Yeah.
And after he's dead, you still feel kind of empty, and he obviously did.
He
it was an empty
it.
win. Yeah.
I got this. This is just me getting the sense. Everybody can see the characters any way they want, but I felt that they played him as a comedic guy because when we see Thor, he's some drunk in some cabin playing with
Korg.
I'm so glad he was back. I didn't think he was gonna be back, but I'm glad he was back. And he got his Avengers moment at the end battle. But he's a drunk. He's gained a bunch of weight, whatever. And they play him as a comedic role. But I also felt, particularly when he's talking to his mom, like he feels the weight of the world or the universe on his shoulders because he felt like he let everybody down, and he got a redemption. I feel kind of towards the end, and I like his new look with the huge beard and the dreaded hair. Like I really dig that, and I like how he's not sad that Captain America has his hammer. Because he's
all about it.
Yeah, he's like, cool. No, give me that one. That was you could.
That was
you could.
Pretty funny.
Yeah, you lifted the hammer. That's yours now. Okay, I want Stormbreaker.
Yeah, so it was I enjoyed Thor's arc throughout the entire 2 movies.
Like I did like how he was the comedic thing, but like after a while, it's just like, man, like stop putting so much like jokes on him. Like this is like the God of Thunder. Like let him do what he.
You're
does.
right. I think they did.
That's his deal though. That was Infinity War.
I think they played it a little too long, but I do think that finally when he got to the end, it was kind of like we're serious about
Infinity War was his movie.
Infinity War was his movie.
True.
Yeah. What do we think of Hulk? Or Professor Hulk, as we're seeing it. I thought he was going to get more of a play as well, because in the first one, it was all Bruce Banner. And they gave a context where he was like, I combine the best of both worlds. But I understand where he's maimed after snapping, but I thought he would just be more effective.
Well, they said that they were going to put him more into like the Professor Hulk role. And so when I thought that, I was like, okay, so he's going to be more doing science stuff, more and crushing cars and everything. When they went back to the Avengers,
he's like,
he had to like kind of like warm up.
Yeah,
He's like, and smashes the taxi and throws the bike. Trying to get into character.
I thought that was gonna go differently. Whenever they go to New York to get the time stone, and when she shows him out of his body, she shows Bruce Banner out of the Hulk's body or whatever. I thought, because there's a storyline somewhere. It's in one of the animated Marvel movies where they separate Bruce Banner from the Hulk, and there's Bruce Banner, and then just
that's a comic book.
Rage Incarnate is what they call him, and it is. I thought that's what was going to happen, and Hulk was just going to tear the fuck out of New York. And I didn't. I thought that was coming, but when they just saw him like sleeping or whatever, I was like, oh, okay, I guess. It took me by surprise though. I was expecting another fucking.
And really, like at
Hulkbuster scene
at the big battle and everything, that you don't see much of him. There's like maybe a couple scenes. But like you don't really get a.
Well, he's not the Hulk anymore, really. Honestly.
Yeah. But then that gives him room to like kind of do something. Like
Ant-Man kind of took the role, the Hulk role.
I think so too. Yeah.
Like World Buster Hulk, or maybe even Warlord Hulk.
But and what you're talking about, that is when I forget who's fighting, but then you just see big Giant Man, and he just steps on one of Thanos' sons, the big one that got his arm torn off in the first one. He's going after somebody, and you just see Giant Man just boof, and he keeps walking. I fucking love that.
I love too, like the big old whale thing, and Giant Man just punches.
He just punches the shit out of it, dude. Yeah. What other character was coming to my mind? One that I honestly thought was good. She got some good play. In this movie, but I just thought maybe she was gonna get more. Which now in hindsight, I'm glad she didn't. Was Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
It
was perfect how they did it.
I think so too, because when everybody was fighting, I turned to my sister and I was like, you know who's left, right? And she's like, no. I was like, Captain Marvel. Like, she's still... And sure enough, like, when they turn the cannons to shoot, and they're like, what are they shooting at? And you just see fucking Captain Marvel just... Boosh, boosh, boosh. Like...
From her movie. Just blowing up ships. Like.
And the 2 other scenes I really like from her in this movie is when they first kill Thanos and they confront him. Dude, she is not playing with him, dude. She's just like... or whatever. And then the second one is when they're fighting at the end of the movie, like... Their power.
Yeah, he's outmatched.
Their power set. Yeah, she totally outmatched. He outsmarted her for a second, put the power stone in his left hand and punched her. But totally outmatched.
Yeah, when he didn't have it, like, when he headbutted her and everything, and like she didn't move. That's when you saw like the fear in his eye, like, oh shit, like.
Dude, she ain't here to play, bro.
No, she ain't here to play. Side note, like, since I don't want to get off on Captain Marvel, but
I want more Captain Marvel.
One of the things, okay, I don't want to sound like that guy and I'm probably gonna sound like that guy.
But
But do you feel like
Honest, I'm
that part of the battle where it was the all females? Do you feel like that was forced?
it was badass.
No,
I love that.
I mean, it was, but I felt like like there's no other
They
like
did it on- it
all the
wasn't-
guys like kind of
No,
went somewhere else.
It
Like,
wasn't
was done on-
forced. They did it on purpose.
It was done on purpose. I do think people on the internet are gonna nitpick at that point because it's like, oh, like what did they put all the guys or whatever? But
Because that's every movie ever.
and I get that, but I mean, it's
Do
just
you?
like no, I'm just saying like there's so many people in this battle scene, and then out of nowhere, like in a span of what maybe like a half-mile radius, it's just all girls.
Okay,
like
but you
Captain
have to-
America's not in there, or
You
like,
have to. This is how I've lived my entire. Shut up. I've lived my entire life like this way. They don't tell the story how it happened because that's how they're telling the story. The story happened, and that's why they're telling the story. Does that make sense? It happened this way. That's why the story is worth telling. Not that they have to. They mold
make the story work.
Right.
For them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how you have to think of it. Obviously, they do that,
yeah.
but you have to. That's how you have to think of
But,
it.
no, but I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I feel like you're saying like, oh, like we
There
have
should
to
have been
add,
some guys
we
in there.
ha- we, ha-
probably.
we add this. We have to add this scene or whatever. But I do think ultimately, like to me, that worked. Like that was
in my opinion, what they should have done is like the original Avengers movie, where you saw like Hulk and Thor destroying that whale, and then you see the scene with Captain America and Iron Man working together. That's how they should have done. Not like, oh, they're all together in a group, and they're just like, I thought it was a little forced.
Wait, what? Say it again.
Do you remember the original Avengers, where it was like Hawkeye?
I see. Yeah.
So like, so you get like Valkyrie and Shuri working together, and then like you go to another part of the battle and it's them, and then another part like that. I just felt like when they all grouped together, I was like, that's kind of forced. Like, come on.
But I think it's worth whatever it takes to get it there. You
No, but I know
it's worth
I know,
whatever.
yeah,
It's worth whatever reservation you have.
I know what they're trying to do on that, but like,
I understand what you're saying.
they could have worked it a little bit better.
No, and that's the first thing that crossed my mind too. I'm like, okay, like this was, I think, like written in the script to be, forced in. I get that, but it worked for me.
The Women of Marvel, dude, it was cool.
No, I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying
No,
like,
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But it's worth all those reservations. Like it's worth whatever you have to do to make that so in your head. It's worth it.
okay.
And that was
Like, just to like think of all like the little girls watching that.
The first thing my sister said was, and granted my sister's older, she's 21, but the first thing she said was like, girl power.
Fuck yeah, dude, that's awesome.
I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying like,
every movie ever is about manpower, and I'm happy.
No, I don't want to make Marker out to be like I'm a He-Man.
No, he's not. He's not.
It's just I understand what he's saying. I do feel like it was a little forced. I get it. Like when the people in the office got around and they got on the big whiteboard and they're like, okay, we have to have the office. I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But it worked for me.
But like I said, like if they were to done like Avenger style, where like you had different of the women pairings and everything at different points of the battle, that would have been even like badass.
But you're fitting a lot into a movie that's all about efficiency.
We're talking about a 3-hour movie like that?
No, but
we're talking about a 3-hour movie. We are talking about a 3-hour movie like that.
But you run the risk of making it 3 hours and 15 minutes just to appease whatever fucking.
It's fine. Transition. So there are two specific women that I do want to talk about and see what you guys' thoughts are on that. I thought Valkyrie came out looking really good in this. Like as far as
she's the new Queen of Asgard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is pretty bad.
Dude, I love. Okay, don't let me forget that thread. But I really liked Valkyrie in this. I think she came out looking really good. As far as like, because we first see her as like, yeah, he's up in his cabin. Nobody wants to, we only see him once a month or whatever, once a week. I really like that. What did you guys think of Pepper Potts wearing the Iron Man suit?
That was weird.
The rescue suit.
Yeah, it feels like it came out of nowhere.
If I were to say anything, I would say that felt forced.
No, because they at least kind of dropped that little Easter egg in the beginning when he's like, "Hey,"
I guess I didn't even think about that.
And then she had the helmet on. That's the rescue
Oh
moment.
yeah.
And she's like, "That's for your mom. That's for."
She never wears anything by her.
Yeah. So then when she realizes like, this is another Infinity War, quote unquote. I don't know what she probably said.
Like all hands on deck.
Yeah, all hands on deck. She's like, I don't want to wear it, but if it means like saving my husband, then I'm going to do it.
I wish though they would have put something else in there for maybe a second for me to know that was gonna happen.
Yeah,
because all we get is the helmet at the beginning. I didn't even think about that till now. But you were keeping a track.
This is why you guys pay me the big bucks to be here.
Yeah, I pay you in beer, or
that's still big bucks.
Pay yourself.
I pay myself in beer. Yeah.
So yeah, it looked weird to me, but ultimately I liked it. But because I think you had to have her there. Because if Iron Man dies, she has to be there. She has to be there.
Oh, they made the right call.
Yeah, I don't. Okay. Oh, they did because I don't think it's an after the fact. So like, I don't think you see her at the funeral with her daughter like crying. Like she's been there since day one. Like she was in the first movie 11 years ago, so she had to be there.
Yeah, but you gotta realize like. Kind of like what she said, like, my biggest failure was telling you to stop it.
Yeah.
So she knew what was going to happen. Like, she's already had this, not really planned, but, like, she was expecting it. Like,
she almost kind of made peace with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While he was dying.
Yeah.
Which is kind of...
and I think it's very, very specific that she said that we're going to be okay. When you tell somebody that's, is going to die or something, it's going to be okay, you're going to be okay. You kind of, I think she did it on two fronts. One, to let him know, like, hey,
we won.
Like, we won, we're going to be okay. And two, that me and your daughter, we're going to be okay. So.
I'm going to do one first there. I think she said that, yes, about her and her daughter, but I think she said it about everybody.
Well, yeah, that's
like,
the...
We, as the Avengers, as everybody, we are going to be all right. Like, you don't have...
That's
like,
sort of the double entendre.
Yeah. So, I didn't forget the thread I was on with Valkyrie, but I'm bringing it up now. I'm so, and I kind of mentioned this earlier, I'm so excited to what they're going to do. So, we basically have a Guardians of the Galaxy with Thor now. We have, I think they're going to make a movie with the Asgardians and Valkyrie. Like, I like that thread. We're going to get a Sam Wilson Captain America.
Oh, dude, the places they can go. This movie makes me excited for the future at the same time as saying goodbye to the past.
It's very conclusive as far as that first saga, as Barker put it, but it also leaves some threads for moving forward, and I'm so excited for that.
This movie, I know this sounds cheesy as fuck, but this movie, I call it an aloha movie. Because it's goodbye and hello.
And that's not cheesy. That's a good way to put it, though.
Exactly. I mean, it's just like, yeah, we have to say goodbye to these people that have been doing it for 11, 10, 9, years and everything like that. And we have to say hello to the new Avengers, to the new people that are coming and everything.
And honestly, we talked about it before, Iron Man and Captain America. I think that's the only two ways those two guys could have gone out. I don't think you could have flipped it. I don't think you could have had Captain America die and then Iron Man.
No, it's cool. He fulfilled his story, kind of.
And their arcs are complete, and it's gonna suck that we're not gonna have those characters anymore. But if we are gonna close that loophole, close those threads, I'm glad they went out the way they did. That is so emotionally satisfying.
Doesn't that make you excited for what future threads?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, all the time, yeah.
So I'm gonna put this out there. You guys don't have to admit anything. I am. Was there any point in the movie where there was teary-eyedness? Tears.
I welled up a couple times, but I cried during Infinity War. I did not cry during Endgame, but it was close a couple times. Whenever Hawkeye's wife called, I was like, oh my god! I was so happy. I was like, oh my god, imagine that. That's fucking crazy. I don't know. That made me really happy. I was so happy. And then when Spider-Man jumped on the scene, when I saw Spider-Man, 2
parts where I got really emotional. 3
and
actually.
And then when Iron Man, obviously.
3. When he got the phone call, and I think it was the sprinkles on top of the cupcake was Iron Man just taking it all in, we fucking did this. So that in combination, I welled up a little bit. As we talked last week, the one shot I wanted, we got.
Well, that was cool.
Dude, and that was the weirdest part to get emotional, but I just
No, it's a culmination of
dude. And
10 years.
And the third one was when Iron Man died. I was just and particularly, dude, Tom Holland plays a Spider-Man so well, dude. Because in Infinity War, we're please, I don't want to go, I'm sorry. And then this was don't go, please don't go. He's crying, and I'm like, you motherfucker, stop being such a good actor, you know what I mean? So it's, those are the 3 scenes that I can think of where I'm like, fuck, dude. And my sister, after the movie, was talking to my mom, she's like, it was sniffing hard enough where I know that he was crying. I was like...
You heard a bunch of people.
Yeah. Oh, there was a ton. Yeah. For me, I had 2. I think the one was when everybody was walking out of the portals.
That's what I'm saying. That scene is amazing.
I would say...
I wasn't crying, but every emotion kind of welled up in me. At that point, around all these people except for you guys, I wanted to just stand up and start clapping and yelling. Like,
Dude,
I wanted to just... I felt like I was like a wrestling match, like, and Stone Cold Steve Austin is walking down, like, the
that
fucking...
Scene,
and it was just, oh my god, like... And I was just, like, holding myself back because I was like, I gotta watch the rest of this movie. And then, yeah, when Tony was dying, just to see Tom... And you could just tell, that's a raw emotion from Tom, like, just to... Just be like, you can't die, you know, and everything like that. And just, you know, it's... RDJ, he's Iron Man. He's always gonna be Iron Man.
And like I said last week on the show, they're gonna have to rip the spine out because they're gonna that's it for Iron Man, and they ripped it out, dude. So it's yet to be determined whether the spine's gonna be Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel. There's probably my money on it's probably more Captain Marvel.
It should be,
but it could be Doctor Strange. It could be Captain Marvel. It could be
Spider-Man,
or it could be the new Captain America, Sam Wilson. It just depends, but. You had to rip that bandit off, like you had to, and I think that's the best.
And we're missing one of the key people. I mean, Black Panther.
Oh, Black Panther too. He could be the.
That.
I mean, that movie made that probably. Well, that movie ended up outgaining Infinity War, but I think this movie outdoes Black Panther.
Oh, dude, this will.
They were saying
this is the biggest movie of all time.
They're gonna say that they said that this movie worldwide is gonna make $1 billion, not $1 billion, the opening weekend worldwide. Like that is. Fucking crazy.
So $1 billion in
it usually takes
3 days.
weeks.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It broke the pre-sale record
from the Force Awakens.
Yeah, but it broke it in a week.
Yeah.
Not just 2 weeks. Not just like like in a week.
Well,
pre-sales broke the record.
Even in our and when I mean dingy, I don't mean it derogatory. I mean just because we're a small town. But we never get Thursday releases. Like we get them for big movies like this one. We'll get it for Star Wars. They have to be big movies. And when I originally bought my tickets, there were 2 showings that they were going to do 7 o'clock, one showing, 2 theaters. When we walked in there, we noticed they made that into 3. So it was big. When
I went outside to take that call, and I know a lot of people that aren't from Garden and everything, they don't understand this, but I mean the line was basically to where the grass is, where McDonald's is at.
And that's what I said. Whenever Jasmine's my wife's husband, my wife's brother showed up. He's like, "Hey, I'm in line. Like, do you have the ticket or should I buy one?" I was like, "No, I can give it to you. Let me know where you're at." And he's like, "I'm by McDonald's." I was like, "Fuck!" But that line moved quick though, because they were putting the employees like 20 people deep or whatever. So it's like, okay, let me take your ticket, keep your stub. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There were some people in front of us that went to see Dumbo or some shit.
Really?
Yeah. They
that old couple?
No, they went. They saw Endgame.
They were in front of us.
They were in front of those people.
Yeah. Well.
And the guy was like, I remember the guy took their ticket. He was like confused, like, oh, this is at the very end.
Like they could have went to the front of the line. Like you can go to Dumbo. We don't give a fuck.
No, and I know that older couple went to the same theater we were in because she turned around. She was in front of. You know how there's the handrail, and then there's like seats. Well, her and her husband were like on one of those the pairings of seats, and she turned around, and she just looked and she like looked to her husband. She's like, "This is amazing!" Like they look to me like they're moviegoers, but they're probably the Saturday matinee movies.
Yeah.
Like a Dumbo Saturday, where there's like 20 people. So when they see like the biggest theater that could see 200 people maybe, that is completely filled, and they're like,
and there's 3 of those bitches.
Yeah, and they're like, this is crazy,
Yeah.
So it was it's a big event, man.
This is the biggest movie of all time. I think we can definitively say
no, it by far is.
By
I
far,
think
it's...
even if like you don't know anything about any of the other 21 movies.
And how many people saw the craziness of Infinity War and then caught up in this year?
Cody, a friend of the show, Cody, he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, you here?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm in theater, whatever." He's like, "Oh, I'm in theater. I'm on the other one." I was like, "Okay," and he's like, "This girl behind me said that. Oh, should I watch the first one to get this one?" So he's like, "My God," and I was like, "No, I get it, but maybe this will encourage her to see the first one and get it. Feel all the fun."
So the gravitas of that.
That's like Andres watching the very end of Breaking Bad.
Oh, Andres?
His brother watched the last episode of Breaking Bad.
That's the only episode he's ever seen.
But that probably gets him into that. But I mean, like, there are people that have no idea about the whole MCU and just went to that movie.
And I hope that, and as we were talking, like you said, Aloha movie, and I hope that opens them up to these other movies. So, hey, Iron Man, like, so they see the first Iron Man, then they see, and then, so hopefully that opens up a floodgate of people to watch movies.
But I love the fact that, like, with these movies, I mean, yes, any director can take a base and they can go off of any comic arc because Infinity War didn't just go off of Infinity War. It went off of different like story arcs and everything like that, and that's where they can go with this. Like, it's not like you read the comic and they're gonna go straight off the movie.
That's
by all means. Because if that's the case, then we would have had Adam Warlock in this one.
Because Adam Warlock is played the Captain Marvel part in the comics, where he's basically the one that
Adam Warlock exists in the universe, though.
He
does, but he's not in this, and he's part of the whole comic.
Which is what I want to get to before we.
But that's why
wrap this up.
But I think that's why superhero movies are always going to be great because there's no fatigue to it. The directors can take any story arc, combine them together, and they can just roll with it, and people are going to eat it up, and I love it.
Yeah, same.
We are in the golden age of this, and it's awesome.
Yeah, fuck it. We'll get to it. What I want to know... Okay, so you could say this was the Thanos saga, right?
Well, they call it the Infinity Saga.
Okay. Well, I know what you're saying, though. Yeah, this is the... Yeah.
As far as villains, this is Thanos. What do we do now?
Ooh. I want Abel's response first.
I've heard.
I wonder if it's a formulaic thing where they're going to have a multi-movie.
Yeah, I think so.
I hope so.
You would have.
I hope so. Yeah.
If it takes another 10 years, I don't know.
Dude, I'm here for it. Let's go.
And actually, what a news article if we had news that I was going to read is people thought that this was going to be the end of Phase 4. It's not. It's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So, but
it is the end of Thanos.
Yeah, it is the end of Thanos. Like that's it. Unless you want to think about like somebody gets the stones, but you can't. Not in this, because he destroyed the stones. Yeah. So that's the end of it. So, anyways, there's one of two ways I think. A lot of people said the Skrull Wars, the Secret Wars.
I think we kind of did away with that though already, didn't we?
Well, I read somewhere that you can justify that was a sect of Skrulls, and then there are other Skrulls.
Oh, okay.
So, or now that they bought Fox, you can make Galactus. You can make Galactus. Or Dr. Doom.
Galactus?
Yeah. Galactus. The Planet Eater Galactus. He's the
Fantastic Four.
From the Fantastic Four.
With the purple horns.
Yeah.
But
or Dr. Doom.
Didn't Doctor Strange kill Galactus?
No, that's
Dormammu.
Dormammu. Yeah.
But since Disney bought Fox, they can make the Super Skrull. Because they couldn't put the Super Skrull into Captain Marvel. Yeah. So maybe he's one of that rogue one, kind of like running an accuser a la Secret Wars.
I would really like a Dr. Doom. Really like a Dr. Doom.
You get the perfect actor for that. That'll be the next fucking great villain.
I'm down for that.
I am so down for that.
I would like Galactus too.
Okay, the trouble I think is Thanos was universal. How do you get bigger than that? That's tough.
Galactus, yeah.
Galactus, he's a planet eater. Like that's
or the eternal being, I guess.
Dr. Doom can't get cosmic. He can, but
he can. CAN.
But he's more.
No, but like you're not saying he can't. He can.
He can.
Wow.
But
I did not know that.
And he's such an interesting character. His dynamic, as far as like.
You have to spread that across movies though.
Yeah.
And there's nothing saying it has to span 4 Avengers movies.
I honestly think they had the idea of ending where they're going to at with Endgame. Like they had that idea since the first Avengers. Thinking. So I bet you when they bought the rights to the new, you know what could be the end of the second phase or the second saga? X-Men versus Avengers, or some shit. Now that the possibilities are endless, now that they have all the.
That's
characters.
So cool.
Yeah.
God, this is so well done. This is such a perfect bookend to a perfect 20 years, 10 years, 20 movies, 20 plus movies. It's so perfect.
And I mean, like Thanos is one of the top villains of Marvel. And you get rid of him, but you still have a plethora of iconic ones.
Which I shouldn't shit on something because I like something so much, but it just shows to the failed potential that DC had as far as what they could have done. Because Thanos is cool, it's fine, but he's not a Darkseid. Darkseid is like the ultimate villain in any comic book world. And just what you could have done with Thanos, with Darkseid, like that makes me so sad of what DC could have done with Thanos, or with Darkseid.
Maybe it's not DC's time.
It wasn't, but they thought it was, and they tried to make it.
Well, I mean, Marvel was on that.
And then to be honest, Thanos probably isn't now. He's in the pantheon of like great villains, but when you think of like when you take the comic books, You put Galactus before him. You put Doctor Doom before him. You put quite a handful of bad guys before Thanos.
They'll probably get there then.
I hope so. So yeah, it's just, and
we're in good hands.
I think Barker put it perfectly. Succept, where this is a hello goodbye movie. Dude, and you said it was cheesy, but I think that's the perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
It's just it closes doors but opens the same number of doors on the other end. So I just thought that was a good way to put it. So
Endgame is the official Aloha movie of eternity
of the MCU. Dude, that's well done, sir.
Let's see. I have some notes here.
But I mean, okay, so like one answer only. In your mind, who do you think's the next villain?
Dr. Doom. Well, that's who I want. Yeah,
I want Dr. Doom, but I think they play it more like a scroll. Actually, they could even do like Secret Wars, where they all get abducted.
I don't think that'll be cool. I really don't, because they've already Skrulls as we know them are good guys now. That was such a turn.
The Skrull Wars and Secret Wars are different things. Secret Wars is when they all get taken from Earth to a different planet and basically fight to be a champion.
They did that already.
I thought that was Contest of Champions.
Yeah.
That came out.
So Secret Wars goes into Contest of Champions.
Something like that.
Okay.
But Secret Wars was in the 80s. That's where Spider-Man got his black suit.
I think you need to do something completely out of left field. I think Doctor Doom's the answer here. Or a different. It could be a different villain, but I don't think you want to do something already introduced. I think to give it the gravity that it needs, it's got to be something you didn't see coming. That's how I would play
it. And actually, maybe something on left field, as you said, he has to be cosmic, he has to be universal. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe
not.
Maybe it's just Earth, and Doctor Doom wants to take over the Earth. You know what I mean? So it's just like it doesn't have to be intergalactic or however you. Do you understand the span of intergalactic? You see, I get it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I actually.
Universal.
I have a beef on this.
Well, I mean,
I don't want to get into it.
But I mean, like in Phase 1,
it's the same beef I have.
We thought it was Loki, and it was actually Thanos. So maybe for the next one, it's somebody else that leads up to Thanos.
Yeah, because Thanos isn't introduced until Avengers 1.
And that was at least
like
2-3 years.
Yeah, there's no
into
rush.
MCU.
Absolutely no rush.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think they wanted to get to this how do you want to say, to this base. Like they got to first base, right? And they're like, okay, we're here. Let's rewrite it now that we have the properties that we need. So it not that I'm saying he's the big bad, but you can bring in Deadpool now. You have the X-Men. You have the Fantastic Four. The possibilities now of a complete Marvel universe are there. And it just sucks that we're not going to get like Fantastic Four and Captain America with you, Steve Rogers. It's fine, whatever. But like the possibilities there are now for.
So the little joke I say is like now after the Disney Fox mergers, like shouldn't beforehand just been called like the Marvel Cinematic Earth, but now it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So you have everything now.
Yeah, you're right. Actually,
like at one point you only had like maybe the Marvel Cinematic Galaxy. I don't know, but like you only had a finite, and now you literally have fucking everything that you made, created, wrote about, and everything that. Back to me, I know I didn't answer, but I like yours with X-Men.
And you start introducing some of the X-Men and stuff, and then there could be something more sinister in the background as far as like they're trying to pin the X-Men and the Avengers against each other. But I do like that as a concept of something happened because they in this first saga they used the first Avengers movies for everything. So that's how we got Spider-Man with Vulture. That's how we got the Sokovia Accords basically that was mounted up. So something can start building up to where we get the X-Men. So or where was it going? So this thing with Thanos unleashed something that created metahumans.
Mm-hmm.
So like
that'd be cool.
So it's like the first two metahumans were Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. But they were, according to this universe, the movie universe, they were genetically enhanced. So from here on out, like maybe people are born with mutations, and we get a Wolverine, so that'd be a cool way to do it,
And I don't think you do I don't think you make an entire saga out of Avengers vs. X-Men. I think you make a piece of it, and then they team up at the end.
I think you're right. That's like a Civil War kind of thing, and then like Civil War leads into.
We can do a Civil War too.
Yeah, we can with Captain Marvel. Oh no, Iron Man's dead.
You can do Captain Marvel against Black Panther. That's what they did in the animated shows.
Dude,
I haven't seen that.
You can't put Captain Marvel against any of these chumps.
I think out of any one of them that are left, besides Thor, I think Black Panther's the one guy that could probably...
But we just talked about, they ripped the spine out of the Avengers. And
I mean, as far as,
leader, so, maybe they have
you can't put Captain Marvel against anyone. She's like...
But I mean, in order, to figure out who the leader is, because, one's a king and the other one's the most powerful Avenger, that clashes a lot.
I forgot to add this about Captain Marvel when we were talking about her little piece. I'm glad that she came in and wrecked... But I'm glad she's not the one that ultimately killed Thanos, because I think that would have been completely you know what I mean?
It doesn't have the impact that it did.
Yeah. So I'm glad that she didn't just come in and just wrecked and then movie over. I'm glad that she put in her part and they wrote in that Thanos was smart enough for 2 seconds to do that. But yeah. So we've been blowing this movie now for an hour. What is one thing that maybe you're like, man, okay, yeah. So maybe Barker, you already said yours.
I already said mine.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna make me find something, I would say it's. I mean, I understand that you needed the time in between the movies, but it's kind of a slow starter, a little bit. I mean, I get why, obviously, because you're dealing with the impact of Infinity War, but it is a slow starter. I went through 2/3 of the movie thinking, wow, Infinity War is the far superior movie. Not far superior, but superior movie. But I can't even say that because the last hour of it just completely obliterated everything. It was so awesome. I don't know. It's like they saved all their awesome to the end, and then they blew their huge awesome load.
Well, I thought that
they had gotten everyone's hair.
I thought the first really two. Awesome. I thought the first two scenes or acts were.
They're slow burns, kind of. I mean, there's not much action. Really.
But you needed that to get to 30.
Oh, certainly. I mean, you're making me complain about something. It's as good as I got. Okay, it's the best I can do.
There's one thing that's stuck in my craw.
Which is why you brought it up in the first place.
No, because I love this movie, and it's recognition that it's gonna get. I know we don't use Rotten Tomatoes anymore, but
we still do, clearly.
It is the highest rated Marvel movie of all time. It's at a 98%.
Yeah.
So anyway, but
CineScore had it at a 93. I think.
Yes, and CineScore is a little harder to get in the 90s and stuff. So, but
still 93 is fucking.
Yeah, but it's. There are things, even though how well we think it is, that you may think maybe a little different. Mine is not necessarily that it ruined the movie for me or anything, but you think. So, we're pretty sure that Nebula knew what Thanos did to get the Soul Stone, right? But she knew that she traded 1 for 1. She's not part of the Avengers, right? She has been part of the Avengers for about 5 years, right?
Uh-huh.
So when they're all teaming up and they're like, okay, you're going to go here, you're going to go here, you're going to go here. Don't you think that she would have told Hawkeye and
Black Widow
that that's the thing that they're going to have to do?
That was in the back of my head
when
that scene happened.
I don't think so. I don't think it's as cut and dry as that. I think she understands that Gamora died. She wasn't there. She doesn't... I don't think Thanos ever explained it to her. Oh, hey, we have to trade.
But
she does. She can only guess. She can only speculate.
But you can have the conversation like, "Hey, my dad took my sister there, and my dad came back. There's 2 of you going. I want you to know that the possibility of you one might not come back. I think that's a conversation you have to have.
But no, I get with you. Okay, yeah, maybe give them a heads up. You might have to do stuff there,
Yeah.
Hawkeye might have to blow this trucker out behind the the quick stop and everything. Yeah. You never know.
I think that's a conversation you have to have. That's the only thing to me that seems
just be prepared for anything that happens.
Yeah. I think that's the only thing to me that seemed like a little bit of a plot hole. But
I pointed an Infinity War plot hole out to him earlier today. They're in Wakanda, right? Thanos snaps. It's daylight. Right at the same time it's daylight in New York.
Oh, God.
Hey, that's plot hole, technically. I'm saying.
Technically, alright. Okay, well,
Even it ends up being meaningless.
Hurt my shoulder on that one.
okay, so as a okay, that's a good transition actually. Now that you brought Infinity War, and we're kind of running towards the end here. What as a whole now? This is you can't take one without the other, obviously, because it's two.
It's two parts of one movie.
Yeah, if we're gonna take this as a whole, what as far as the story that's told there, what do you guys? What are we thinking? Like, what your overall thoughts as far as like do you think it worked as far as like spinning it in half?
It's the most incredible story ever told on film.
Agreed. Bullet.
It spans 22 movies.
Bullet.
But we're
and I had a question. Do you think it'll ever be outdone? Because no, it's impossible.
What
There's
if
no way.
Marvel they do
That's
themselves?
the only way. They've proven they have competent people running.
But I am.
This is the greatest cinematic undertaking in the history of cinematic undertakings.
But I am worried now that we're. And it's been happening for years now that people are trying to do
Hollywood's
thing.
tripping over themselves.
Yeah, to do this, and we're getting. And no fault to Marvel, they're doing their thing.
They're making their money.
I've had this argument. We've had this argument.
Yeah.
We can have it again.
They're Scrooge McDucking.
I'll be right.
Their money, okay.
I can be right again if you want. If you need me to be. That's all I'm saying.
It sucks that Hollywood is making lesser movies trying to get to that point when they should take their time. What it is time. And I know Hollywood executives don't think they have time, but
Look what just happened.
look what 11 years, dude. Like it is going to be the biggest movie of all time. You have fucking time. You know what I mean? Okay, so then gun to your head, click. Which one? If you had to pick, you can watch all the other ones, but you can only watch either Infinity War or Endgame for the rest of your life. You can't watch one without the other. And I know we're a couple hours removed from Endgame, but which one would you pick?
I have to pick Infinity War or Endgame. Endgame. Because there's like way more Captain America.
Damn, I gotta go with Endgame. I know, like,
Was it really?
newly biased and everything that, but god damn it, man, that battle scene.
It was pre-poop.
You can't. Game of Thrones ain't even gonna fucking do that. No.
No, you know what? I'm gonna put. You put me in a tough spot, you son of a bitch. I got one for you.
Oh, Marvel.
Oh, okay. All right.
So what's yours?
Because I know what happens in Infinity War, Endgame. Okay, so I Men in Black you.
Because you got the pug?
Yeah, I do have the pug. Frank, you son of a bitch. No, I guess you can't do that because you won't know the basis. But yeah, as long as you know the basis of Infinity War for Endgame, you have to pick Endgame. Like, I think you have to. So, is this the best Marvel movie?
Yes.
Out of the 22?
Yeah.
Yes. Or the Winter Soldier had sex with me every night. Because I am biased. Winter Soldier is by far the greatest movie of all time. Like, well, superhero-wise. And Endgame trumped that. I mean, I'm sorry.
I think as a contained story, I still think Winter Soldier is better. But for a culmination of 11 years of storytelling,
See, that's the thing. Whenever Infinity War came out, everyone, including you two assholes, wanted to say, "Oh, well," especially you. You just wanted to say, "Oh, well, it piggybacks off the previous movie." Well, it gets to do that. That's the whole point. You get to take that into account. It's not cheating. It's they earned it through 10 years.
But you made me pick between Spider-Man and Infinity War, and I told you I thought Spider-Man was better.
I didn't make you pick. You offered that. You volunteered that.
I still think it's a better movie, but Endgame is obviously the superior movie. It's the better movie.
Of course it is. Because it does. It gets to piggyback off because it earned that right to do that. They earned that by spending 11 years. You know, if these other studios will get their heads out of their asses and realize that, they get to do that too.
Okay, let's see. What other notes do I have? Captain Marvel, last sound. And we were talking about the last sounds of the movie before the show started. CJ didn't. I don't know if you didn't hear it or get to it, but there are no end credit scenes. But we do get when they show the Marvel Studio logo before the screen went black. You hear banging, and that is from the first Iron Man suit in that cave when he was captured by the terrorists. So I think that was very good full circle.
I like the post credit ones too, where like they did the homage with the signatures with the original 6th, and then like they put literally like every prominent like role in that. Like there was some people like Kobe Smulders.
Yep, she was in there.
Well, like Maria Hill wasn't actually in the movie.
The only scene she got was at the very end with Nick Fury. That's the only time we saw them was at the funeral.
But
yeah.
I mean, like that usually doesn't get put in there. But like she's been part of the whole.
Which reminds me, time out.
Who was that kid?
Who was that kid?
I'm trying to figure that out. I think it's Robert Downey Jr.'s son that just kind of cameoed.
Really?
I think so.
I think it's gonna be a thread. They're gonna tell us who that kid was.
Maybe, or maybe it's just like, hey, why don't you put Junior?
No. They don't do
Robert
anything.
Downey Jr.
They don't do anything.
It's called the third.
They don't do anything on
Yeah.
that.
If you're watching Game of Thrones, you don't know lineage. You fucking.
Junior's funnier. You
They don't do anything on that.
No, I'm just here to just
bust chops.
you get heat check. Yeah, I just check your heat. Getting a little bit too hot. Heat check that shit.
Do I have anything else, man? Let me see.
Just, ratings wise, I think we're all in agreement on this one.
No Gamora, New Guardians of the Galaxy, end of the chapter. We got my moments. Did we think it was too much humor or just the right amount of humor?
The second act needed it, I think, and it's well because really it's contained to the second act.
I think after
more or less
after Infinity War's whole like gruesome stuff, like you kind of needed that humor.
Yeah, I think it was well done, well placed.
Black Widow movie's obviously a prequel. Loki really dead. The Last Sounds we just talked about. Captain Marvel we talked about. Death of Iron Man, Captain America. Thanos' death we talked about. Very different 3 acts we talked about that. The final battle we did that. Doctor Strange, pointy. Captain America hammer we talked about that. Where do we go from here? Talked about that. As a whole, we talked about that.
Is this gonna be part of the show?
Crying, we'll talk about that.
So I can say just like words, and you're just gonna edit it out
difference
anyway.
between the two movies, we talked about that. So, I guess, we're not gonna beat around the bush. Obviously, we all thought it was Kitty's titties.
Yeah, that's all I agree on that.
What are your lasting thoughts of this movie? When are you guys gonna go see? It's not if, it's when are you guys gonna go see it again?
Next time I have off, I probably will go see it again.
I'm probably going to see it again on Saturday, so.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so now that we're kind of hitting up on the time there, what are your lasting thoughts or any particular things that we didn't talk about that you guys are still kind of thinking about?
Do I need to go further than the greatest cinematic achievement of all time?
No, it's pretty close.
Do I need to?
That's
Okay.
pretty in cap, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Anything else that you're closing out on?
I feel like Marvel's doing it right, and they're just gonna keep that train's just gonna keep on rolling, and I'm so glad for it. Like I said, we're in the golden age of superhero movies, and I hope it just keeps getting better and better.
It will.
I think this, particularly Endgame or Infinity War and Endgame, that is gonna make everybody else be better. So we've started to see DC be better. We got Aquaman, we got Shazam. We're gonna get a couple. We got Wonder Woman. So I think ultimately, not only is it a cinematic achievement, CJ so bluntly put it, but
greatest cinematic achievement in history.
There you go. But I think it's gonna make everybody pick up their game a little bit. So I'm just excited to see where it goes. Obviously, we have.
There's a lot of room for optimism.
We have Spider-Man coming out later this year, and then the Black Widow movie, which is obviously a prequel, is going to be out in 2020.
It's cool. I hope we get to see more Scarlett Johansson because I miss her and love her.
Yeah. So yeah. I think that's it. Whenever you guys hear this, I'm going to try to.
Is it Scarlett Johansson?
Scarlett Johansson, yeah.
It is.
What?
In the Black Widow.
I mean, who else is it going to be?
Well, it's younger. Black Widow.
Did you not see what they did with Michael Douglas in that movie? Mm-hmm. And Scarlett Johansson still looks really young. She's in real life.
No, well, I mean, I didn't know if she's like a teenager.
Well, I'm sure they're gonna get kids to play.
Oh yeah, but I don't know.
It could be her very first mission or the very first time she met Hawkeye.
Maybe Budapest.
Or no, you know what they always talk about and they brought up in the movie. Did you say Budapest?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you said something else. Yeah, Budapest. That's what I was thinking.
I was like, where are you going with this? Because I just said exactly what you were just about to say.
I'm tired, man. I worked all day. Where was I? But yeah, no, I'm excited where this is going, and yeah, man, it's just such a great movie, man. And
like I said, satisfying. Like you
very
could walk out of
satisfying.
that movie theater and like everything is to what it needs to be.
I'm gonna change my word.
Everything is as it should be.
I'm gonna change the word. You said satisfying. You said what?
Perfect.
Fulfilling.
Fulfilling.
That is my word.
I did. I felt fulfilled when I left the theater.
So did I. I didn't.
Did you think you wouldn't?
No.
No, but
I
walking in, you just don't know what to expect.
Exactly.
You don't know if they're starting threads for anything else, and they kind of did a little bit, but like as a whole, like no, this is the end of this is the end of a saga. This is the end of it. So, but yeah, no, if you've made it an hour 20 into this, you've seen it. Let us know what you thought in the comments. Either on Facebook, on Twitter, or wherever you want to get to us, and let us know what you thought of it, what you thought worked, what you didn't think it worked. But just let us know anything. We want to hear any feedback and
critique CJ's guitar playing skills.
Yeah, that piece of shit. Alrighty, guys, we're getting the fuck out of here. Next week, we haven't decided what we're gonna do yet. It's gonna be hard to try to do something other than Endgame next week, but we'll figure it out. Is there, besides Endgame, that's a cop out, is there anything you guys have been reading, watching that you guys want to tell any of the folks about?
Nope. Endgame.
I'm still watching Doom Patrol. I started watching Brockmire. Still getting Game of Thrones. So
go watch Endgame again.
Yeah, and again.
Watch as many times as you can.
All right. If you guys have any suggestions or comments, let us know on Twitter or Facebook. You can find us personally on Facebook or on Twitter
at CJMFA.
Still don't have one.
At Saint_Able45. You can find the podcast on Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, Lips, and Stitcher, or anywhere you find your podcast. And on YouTube, if you prefer to just put it in the background and listen to us and give us your opinion. Go buy some merch.
A lot of merch.
And actually, I'm going to put a call out on Twitter and on Instagram. But if you're a graphic designer, and I got some ideas, I've hit my limit on what I can graphic design. But if you're a graphic designer and you want to give me some quotes or estimates as far as... I got some ideas. I got some Cassowary ideas. I got some Luna ideas, ISIS ideas. I got a bunch of ideas for logos. So let me know if you're a graphic designer and you're hearing this and you want some work. And we'll see how much you pay or cost. We have a Patreon. I keep saying I'm going to organize it, but for real, I'm going to try to organize it. Donate anything you want a month. If you donate anything, you're going to be part of the NWO, and we're going to give you a job like Eddie. He gave me $5. He's the official enforcer of the NWO. So
nice.
If you give us any money,
it's been a minute since we talked to Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie, shout out to Eddie.
Thank you, Eddie.
Eddie, you're the enforcer of the NWO. So yeah, if you donate any amount of money, you're going to be something of the NWO. And if you donate $10 a month, you're going to get a shirt on us. I'll send it out to the mail. So do that. If you want to do a one-time donation, we do have a PayPal, which is nerdworldorder2@gmail.com. Thanks, everyone, for listening, commenting. And yeah, Endgame, we can't blow this movie enough. And you guys should definitely see it. Tell your friends about the podcast. And yeah, let us know what you thought of the movie. Anything else, guys?
Nope.
All right, guys. Don't
We
forget.
out.
Obey the NWO. Bye.
Bye.
Oh,